It's one of those days for the guys out in Milwaukee where the air feels a little crisper. There's a little pop in it. The eggs taste a little better. It's just one of those days. It reminds you of the great days in your own life. If you've had the honor of being married, you remember that day. You remember every moment of that day. It's almost as if the day were in slow motion. Yeah. And I feel like that's what it must be like to wake up this morning a member of the Milwaukee Bucks. It takes you back to graduating high school or college. Those days in your life where it all comes together, years of hard work, sacrifice, dedication. It's just epic. It must be a beautiful afternoon in Milwaukee today. The Deer District, I would imagine, already has 25,000 people.
I heard they're opening it up to 60,000 capacity today.
Why not? Let's everybody. Today's a celebration in Milwaukee. And that's what I love about the NBA Finals and especially this year, is that we're reminded of home court and the presence of fans and how that makes an impact. And if you're Chris Paul this morning and you're waking up in the hotel and you got to go downstairs and get a cup of coffee, or you can feel that energy in the city. I would imagine on the bus from the airport going to the hotel, you see the flags out there, you feel it. And sometimes that can motivate an athlete, but other times that can leave him as a bad pun, deer in headlights. And I'm afraid we're going to see that tonight from the Phoenix Suns.
Oh, wow.
Every bone in my body is rooting for Phoenix. I hope we get more basketball. I love the NBA Finals. I don't want to see it end. I'm going to get a pit of Sunday scaries in my belly tonight if Giannis hoists that trophy. Because that means the season's over and there's no more professional basketball now. NBA basketball, I should say, until next season. So is Giannis going to climb the mountain tonight? Is this going to be the culmination of a journey from across the world to lead him to this moment? I always think of that moment right when the finals ends and they cut to the best player and he's there and he has that moment where his life will never be the same again. We're going to see that tonight from Giannis. Do you feel it? Do you feel what they're feeling in Milwaukee right now?
Larry O'Brien trophy in one hand, the Bill Russell Finals MVP trophy in the next.
Promotional hat on his head.
Exactly.
It's ill-fitting.
Kind of like we saw like LeBron when he first won his first championship in Miami in 2012. Finally feeling that moment of jubilation.
We're going to see Bobby Portis hoist a Larry O'Brien trophy tonight.
NBA champion.
champion Bobby Portis.
Think
about this. This man once punched a teammate, and now here he is, the ultimate teammate. What a journey. What a story.
Who's that guy on the Bucks roster that we can't believe will have a championship? Like NBA champion Pat Connaughton.
Right.
I remember when Steve Nash.
Jeff Teague, NBA champion.
I remember when Steve Nash got traded to the Lakers, and everybody with the conversation in Los Angeles was, now that the Lakers have Nash, how many championships? Will you be happy if it's just one? I said, guys, Jeff Teague's just as good. The guy's an all-star down in Atlanta. What? You're crazy. Now Jeff Teague going to be an NBA champion, something Steve Nash sadly could never do.
I think I kind of like what I said yesterday. It all depends on the health of Steve Nash and how well he plays. I expect Devin Booker to have an amazing game tonight, but it all comes down to Chris Paul and kind of what the Cams do. And unfortunately, it's a road game. And Milwaukee plays really well at home. I think they've only lost one game in the playoffs at home this year. And Scott Foster is officiating tonight. And I think as much as we laugh and have fun about that and wink, wink, hey, Tim Donaghy, that's a huge deal. Chris Paul is 0-12 and Chris Foster and Scott Foster officiated games. Now, is the NBA sending him in to close this out? No, of course. The NBA wants Game 7. But, man, oh, man, it's tough to think Milwaukee doesn't win tonight.
Scott Foster is Chris Paul is 0-12 in games refereed by Scott Foster, and he's refereeing tonight.
He is the lead official, the head official for tonight's Game 6.
We were chatting before the show. Ben Lyons filling in for Rich on the Rich Eisen Show. We got Chris Mannix coming up from Sports Illustrated, going to talk all things NBA Finals. But we were chatting before the show. Do the refs stay in like a Big Brother style compound? And then we just go to them live and they get deployed Did he get shot out of some space cannon?
A
from
van
Bezos?
pulls up and they just call out a name.
No,
like
is it like The
Brockman,
Bachelor where like
Del
they knock on the
Tufo,
door?
Lyons.
Yeah, there's a date card, and it's like, Scott, let's find love tonight in Milwaukee.
Who's the host of the NBA Badges? Does Marcus Johnson come out for the Bucks and say, we need you tonight, and he gives him a rose, and it's Scott Foster?
He goes, I'm going out to my other car.
Does Chris Paul
Dick
say
Bavetta's
something?
driving the van.
Right. Does Chris Paul say something to Scott Foster
Like
at
what?
center court during warm-ups? Hey, Scott, how you doing? How's the family? How's everybody doing this summer? Kids at camp?
If that hadn't been Chris's approach, maybe today he might want to think about switching up.
Yeah, might want to think about
maybe ask about the family, see what his vacation plans are.
Right. In the previous 12 times that
Get his
Scott
Venmo
Foster has
account.
reffed his games, and he's given him the ice grill. Maybe he walks up to him and says, "Hey, man, what kind of protein are you working with? I've been doing Beyond Meat, and I've had a great season.
You
How
look
are
good,
you?
man. You've been working out.
Yeah, you sweating on purpose? How are you, man?"
Yeah, whatever you were doing before, it's clearly not working. So switch it up a little bit.
So the
today.
Suns can change up their approach with how Chris interacts with
Interacts with
Scott
Scott
Foster
Foster.
before the game. They have cameras everywhere, all over the arena. We got cameras on guys counting money. We got cameras on Adele. We got cameras everywhere. Can we get a camera on Chris Paul before the game and how he interacts with Scott Foster?
My Bucks fans friends are actually worried. They think the Scott Foster assignment is the NBA trying to throw us off the scent. Like, oh, Chris Paul's 0-12 in the Scott Foster games. Let's throw Scott Foster out there. Hey, Scott, maybe go the other way tonight.
So you think that has implications with the line in Vegas the other way? The idea of he can't possibly go 0-13 against Scott Foster. Come on, lay a couple on the Suns. Wink, wink.
Wink,
Bucks
wink,
by
nudge,
100
nudge.
tonight.
Yeah,
because it's the coronation of this thing in Milwaukee that
It seems like the coronation of Giannis is inevitable. It just seems that's coming. He's the huge favorite for Finals MVP right now. No one is even close to him. And yeah, I think it's going to happen. I actually think it's going to happen. Milwaukee is the better team right now. They're playing better basketball. Like I said, it'll cut all hinges on Chris Paul's health.
Ben Lyons in for Rich Eisen on the Rich Eisen Show. I want to point out a tweet I had earlier in the series. The Suns are just better at every aspect of basketball and also have a guy named Devin Booker. So it's a wrap. Thanks for playing. So you can follow me on Twitter at I am Ben Lyons. Never a prisoner of the moment. Always looking at it from a bird's eye view. But I bring that up because it feels like we're all prisoners of the moment now in this coronation of Giannis as the greatest player on the planet, this coronation of the Milwaukee Bucks as an organization, new ownership group, bringing legitimacy back to the franchise, to the city. And what's amazing is you look at their two best players, they're the two longest tenured guys on the team. Yeah. Giannis and Chris Middleton have been in Milwaukee the longest. It's a copycat league. Will teams now try and have continuity, try and keep their core nucleus together as opposed to going out there and assembling a team of superstars, trying to, throw together a team of bold-faced names to make a short run at it? Or do you build through the draft? Do you build with your star players and invest in them long term as opposed to rent a player, which has seemed to be the trend in the NBA? Or are we going to see Phoenix make some type of adjustment beyond the interaction of Chris and Scott, but more so from Monty and an X's and O's? You start fouling Giannis in a real way, in a way that takes him out of the flow of the offense, makes the crowd, feel like they're a part of it at first, but ultimately take them out of it because there's less of a flow to the game and you don't get those 7-0 runs, 11-0 runs that really get everybody involved. Do you put Giannis on the free throw line 40 times like they used to do to Shaq back in the NBA Finals? What can you do if you're Monty Williams to change the energy beyond how you interact with Scott during the shooter?
So what do you think? You want Jalen Smith and Frank Kaminsky and
give me Frank the
who
Tank.
else? Torrey
Give me
Craig.
LG Kicks. I've been calling for a Langston Galloway sighting the entire series.
Do you want all these guys out there,
Give me
each one
Torrey
more?
Craig,
Go with guards too, and you just want Hack-a Giannis starting late first quarter?
Let's try it because whatever's working right now isn't. It's been 3 losses in a row. You can't ask Devin Booker to go for 50. Obviously, you need a solid game from Chris Paul. But if I'm Phoenix, I think now is the time to deploy a crazy strategy because otherwise it's going to be 40 from Giannis, 40 from Middleton, 20 and 10 from Drew, and Cuckoo Cal's going to be waving the towel in Milwaukee. It's just a wrap.
Yeah, everything that they've done previously hasn't been working. So like Costanza, the opposite must be true, right? So instead of tuna on
They
toast.
can't change the material of the jerseys.
Salmon on rye.
That's another Costanza move.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't do that.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems, like I said, it's inevitable at this point. Drew Holiday is kind of playing out of his mind, which wasn't happening earlier in the series. He looked afraid to shoot almost in games 1 and 2, and he has been sensational, justifying the enormous bounty that they paid New Orleans to get him. Their version of the Big Three is totally working. Middleton is amazing at home.
We haven't even talked really about Giannis at all. And just, again, the coronation of his star power rising. And picture the rest of the summer. Giannis on the talk shows, Giannis all over social, Giannis, different celebrities. You feel it, right?
Yeah,
you feel Nike with the big announcement. It's happening.
Does he refollow all of his teammates on Twitter and Instagram? Because remember, that was such a big story last year where he's only following his family and his agent and Kobe. It's like, okay.
You know, he's somebody that is so locked in and not caught, like, lost in the sauce. He's not worried about his fashion outfit as he's walking into the arena. I think there's something interesting in the NBA the last few years. A lot of guys who have had success are family guys, have family at a young age. Giannis is a father. Drew Holiday is a father. We've seen Kawhi, family guy, win a finals MVP. LeBron, obviously, family guy. Chris Paul. A lot of these guys now have kids in the prime of their career, and I think there's something about being at a stable place in your life off the floor where you're able to not have distractions and lock in and focus on the floor. I think it's a big Steph Curry, obviously, a lot of success with the Warriors, family guy. So, yeah, I'm so excited for tonight. They're going to have to change the energy if you're Phoenix, if you want to extend this series. You got to do something different. You got to shake it up. You got to go up to Scott Foster before the game and give him a secret handshake, a pound, a smile, a wink, like something.
A few hundos, maybe?
Something.
Like the hundo handshake.
Call the guy who was in Phoenix underneath the basket and see if he can't slip something into Scott Foster's locker before the game.
Do we see him tonight? Did he make the trip, the Southwest trip from Phoenix to Milwaukee?
Did he show up at Phoenix International with all that cash and say, a one-way ticket to Milwaukee, please? I'll buy that flight in cash. Like, remember she tries to buy the flight at the airport in Fletch, which I know you watched.
That's right, I watched
just the other night. We'll get a little Fletch conversation coming up a little bit later on the show as well. I'll have the steak sandwich and the steak sandwich, please.
It's on the Underhills.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.